Hi, Andrew Bell here, and it's great to be with you once again. It's really a fascinating time in the market at present with so much research being done by so many bodies, but it can prove quite confusing with what could appear to be many mixed messages. Take right now, for example, there are an increasing number of stories about the end of the property boom in Sydney. However, the way Sydney market receives such prominent profiling, it would be easier to assume that what's happening in Sydney is reflecting all of the country. This could not be further from the truth. There's never been a time in the history of the Australian property markets than currently that there's been such diversity of activity right around the country. Perth, for example, is almost a basket case as a result of the demise of the mining boom. Melbourne remains a very consistent market. Sydney's had one of the longest booms on record, and Darwin has also been experiencing very difficult times. And so we have to remember to look at each of the markets independently. Here on the Gold Coast, our recovery phase started several years after Sydney. We looked with envy at Sydney and the Melbourne markets when the Gold Coast was still dead in the water. We've also have not experienced a surge in prices that Sydney and Melbourne did receive over recent times. And so we are a completely different market, and possibly the healthiest market in the entire country, coming off a very low base where our price growth has been modest and manageable, and we have more drivers of our market than in any other city in the country at present. As such, we can expect our market to continue with its sustainable growth for quite some time to come, with no fear of correction because there's been no overheating, as opposed to Sydney and Melbourne. Whilst all of the figures in Sydney are pointing downward, our figures are actually pointing upward. And that's reflected by a new company record here for Ray White Service Paradise Group with over $128 million in sales. Now, the activity was across all sectors of the market, and with the volume of buyers that we're working with at present, there is no question we'll continue with record strong results in November and December. And it's a great platform for our upcoming event in January 2018. Now, the other mixed messages around affordability. A report just released shows how housing loan affordability improved 4.4% across the entire country in the 12 months to March. This is a result of rising incomes and very steady unemployment levels at lower levels. It also measures home loan to salary ratios, salaries as a whole, unemployment and net migration. Now, this will surprise people, but it's also backed up by a second report from the Adelaide Bank REIA Housing Affordability Report, which also shows the same improvement. So whilst housing affordability is improving off the back of higher salaries and longer hours worked, we then see another report, this time on housing and mortgage stress. Now, mortgage stress, of course, is basically that your outgoings are more than your income. Now, when you delve into this deeper, it's surprising to see that the mortgage stress in this cycle is amongst the prestige end of the real estate market and not predominantly in the lower half of the real estate property pricing, as it usually is. For example, the country's top mortgage stress postcode is 6065, which is, of course, in Perth, followed by Sydney with 2170 and so on. The Gold Coast is faring reasonably well in this regard. So there we have two reports, one about affordability and getting better, and the other about housing stress rising. A little hard to analyse how those two reports can really give you a trend in real estate market, and such is the challenge with so many reports now available in the marketplace. That's it for this fortnight. For those thinking of selling, don't forget to contact us regarding being part of the Event 2018 program. It's interesting to note, in our last auction, we generated just over $500,000 more in sale prices over reserves for the properties being submitted. This indicates the strength of auctions in the marketplace at present. If you want to get a quick view of the event and see the video, please don't hesitate to get onto the website, which is shown on screen. Or call our event hotline, and that, of course, also has the details on screen. Well, that's it for this fortnight. Great to be with you once again. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time.